Okay, this is session 2 of what I'm calling Vaults of Shadow now, instead of Songs of the Shadow Court. I've decided to change the main campaign to Songs of the Shadow Court, and this adventure is going to be called Vaults of Shadow. So when it eventually becomes PSP, Fraser, make a note, that's what it's going to be called, which will be like 2 years from now. Okay, awesome. We have a brand new player. Matthias is joining us. Matthias, please tell us about your character, the Red Thorn.
Yeah, the Red Thorn, or probably by most people just called Thorn, who know him a little bit better, is an elven fighter, and more specifically, he's a pit fighter. I think he's been working more for the attractions for the lower classes around the carnival or something, and his signature fighting style is one where he uses basically what amounts to a long chain with the blade of a sickle at the end. I think most recently he's been working that because of a big debt he had. I don't know quite the details about that. Maybe we'll find out, but I think that has been bought by the Shadow Court to employ him, use him for I don't know what.
No, I love it. That's fabulous. That sounds great. I know exactly what to do with that. So I like this. Like they bought your debt, and now they use you where they need you. Principally, I assume as muscle, but possibly, as we might even see here in a minute, for as well, right? I mean, maybe they use you for like particularly important fights, right, or particularly important like operations that involve that kind of spectacle. Love the signature weapon. How did that does the signature weapon have any significance beyond just like being the weapon you like, or does it have some kind of like historical significance or meaning to you apart from just it's a weapon you prefer to use? You can say yes and not answer yet, but
Yeah,
but I'll leave it up to you.
I think it's mostly that's what enabled him to survive, in the sense of that is also part of his showmanship. So took a relatively high charisma, and pit fighting is a lot also about like making it for the audience. So
absolutely,
yeah,
I love it. Tell me your flags.
I picked Tell Me a Lie, I Believe. Very much about, well, he's not really that streetwise, or rather maybe naive is kind of the wrong word. He doesn't get the ins and outs of how the world works, right? He's always been the subject of other people's power. Asking me to do something damn acrobatic, that's just his fighting style and moves. And I picked Trust Me with a Secret You Would Never Tell Anyone Else. And this might relate to, because I found out I can't be joining next week. I can't duck out of my obligation there. This might be interesting thing for you guys.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's fantastic. Awesome. I don't think I have any questions. Does anybody else have any questions about Thorn? Okie doke. In that case, I'll tell you guys what's going on. You guys have been in Ashbultan. You new arrivals have been in Ashbultan for some days. And so just know that, like, we are beginning sort of in a few days in the future, maybe even a week or so in the future. There's an underground pit fighting bar owned by a dark elf named Thabun Kree. I'll type that in the chat. That is a Star Wars ass name if I ever heard one. Throwing that out there. Thabun Kree, this dark elf who owns a pit fighting bar underground. The group is there on a few missions, actually. One of the characters in my notes, it says a fighter type, I assume it's Thorn, is actually engaged in the main event of the night. We will talk about that in a moment. Another character is in the audience making sure that Thorn wins in case it starts to go south. This is very important because a target, Dawn, your handler, informs you that a target of the Shadow Court, a future target of the Shadow Court, has bet a huge sum of money on the outcome of this fight, and they want to cripple this person by making them lose all that money. They did not tell you who the person is because that's none of your business. You just need to make sure that Thorn wins the fight. So someone is there so Thorn's there, assuming Thorn is there doing the fight. One other person is there in the audience making sure Thorn wins and providing backup to the other two as needed. The other two are each there on separate, distinct missions at the bar. They're probably smaller in scale, acquire some kind of information, kill someone, just something like that, right? So I don't want to speak for Matthias and Thorn, but I thought this would be lovely because we have Thorn for one session right now, so this might be a nice way just to kind of let him show off his character. So if you're cool with that, Matthias, but who wants to be the sort of like the person who's overseeing it and who's making sure it wins and also backing up the other two if they need it?
Yeah, I was gonna say Twilight would be. I think Twilight would be the one because if she got close enough with her metal gloves, she could manipulate the swords and whatnot.
Nice, perfect. Okay, so Twilight's backup. In that case, I need to know from D-Real and Talia what your separate missions are.
I wouldn't mind killing someone, I guess.
Right, nice.
Are you the other pit fighter?
Yeah, I throw the fight.
A nice handy murder is good. Just so you know, the setup, it's an underground bar. There will be there's the pit. There's like a metal cage around the pit. Imagine Bloodsport or something, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's standing around it, cheering and stuff. And then there is a bar area and with tables where you can actually like drink and commiserate. And then there's like a back room. So.
I have stay out of the light. When you hide in shadows or darkness, you cannot be detected. So I'm digging the murder thing or stealing. Either one is fine.
Okay, I like the idea of a murder. Just decide who the person is you're supposed to kill.
Oh, okay.
Talia, what's your mission? Violating the Sega principle by having you come up with your own difficulty.
No, I think that there's some important group here because I guess it's a relatively high scale fight, and I think that I am being sent to gather information. I think that the Shadow Court is looking for some kind of legendary place or artifact. If you have an idea or something, you can drop it in. Mm-hmm. But I imagine that there's some folks there with privileged information that I have been instructed to extract via some method or another.
I love it. Okay, so it sounds like just a basic sort of like schmoozing, getting to know you, get you to talk type thing, right?
Yeah, it could get to more than that at some point, but that will be the first method.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Or D-Real, any thoughts on who your target is? I can fill in the fiction if you wish, but I'm just curious if you have any thoughts on it.
I was thinking maybe there's a person who like sets up the fights, and like we don't know why or whatever, right? But we have to kill this person, and it speaks to something since we also know that our fighter needs to win this one. So I think they're maybe taking over this fighting ring or something like that by removing the person who rigs them or something like that, maybe.
Are you possibly there to kill Thabun Kree, the promoter?
Sure, I'll kill him.
Awesome. All right, I love it. Okay, you're there to kill Thabun Kree. You are there to extract some kind of information from some upper ups, and Twilight is back up as needed. Good. Okay. So let's just have the camera pan around the room here. I mean, we have this underground bar. There are tons of people at the bar itself, the bar proper. There are, chatting at the tables and then things like that, ordering wine and ale. There's the cage with the sunken pit with lower stakes fights going on, right? Well, we'll talk about that. Let's just paint the scene. 3 possible details you can fill in for me here. The choice is yours. Tell me about one of the fights that takes place in the pit, who it's between, what kinds of combatants are they, or tell me what you see that shows that this is a place where both the upper and lower classes mingle together. Or tell me how you know this place is owned by a dark elf, in case you need a primer on the drow. They worship spiders, and they worship spiders. They are generally evil, unless you are the subject of a very famous series of D&D books, in which case you are extremely over the top, ridiculously good. And really any other kind of like cultural information you want to kind of fill in there about the drow or dark elves of this world is great for me. So just going around the table, any of those 3 details is fine by me. Jump in when you got one.
I'm thinking that maybe they, in the lower ones, they have it set up so that there's a theme going on. It would be as if like a Shakespeare play was fighting, how like they have roles for each one to be portraying. Like they have costumes on and they're fighting, and it's all a little bit more of a show.
It's like story, I guess.
Yeah, a story or a show, except like it's like in Gladiator where you don't know who's going to win still. But there's that kind of thing going on where there's like a story from the past that they're recreating, and then they're like, oh, we're messing with history or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I like that. Okay,
Maybe some of them are actually the legends we've changed as part of the Shadow Court.
There you go.
Things that are no longer true.
Awesome. All right. Who's next?
I think that if I can remember correctly, drow are sort of like hedonists, or
Very much so.
they-
Yeah.
they don't feel love or compassion really. They're just
Pleasure and lust. Yeah.
Yep.
And hatred.
Okay. So I think that there's especially around the fighting arenas, like the fighters that are waiting to enter the ring, there's like massage tables for them, and they're being like kind of taken care of, and there's they have a whole bunch of attendants that are sort of prepping them for this. And then I think around the bar also, there's, just to play into the shadowy drow theme, a lot of the serving people are dressed in clothing that kind of matches the decoration a little bit, so they can kind of like blend in a little bit to the background and then just like emerge as if not really seen, sort of.
Love it. Twilight, what do you think?
Well, there has to be a VIP box, doesn't there? So I was thinking
Sure.
there's probably a VIP box that might have some sort of magical veil over it. Sometimes, depending on who's there, they might have separate VIP boxes, and some of them don't let the people see outside see in, but they can see out. And then I was also thinking that maybe if we're going with a drow spider theme, then probably perhaps some of the people wear tokens made out of spider silk. So maybe you have, I don't know, maybe some of the wait people have vests that are made out of spider silk.
Nice. Fantastic. And Thorn, what about you?
Yeah, I was thinking that we see those massage tables and maybe the stalls where the fighters are brought in beforehand, and it's like a little group of younger, but very nicely dressed. 2 or 3 young ladies, flanked by like their house guards or something, gets to get the tour through basically
Right, yeah.
backstage tour to look at the fighters up close, and they're like shrieking and giggling, and especially when like from the last fight someone bloody gets carried back in to be patched
love
up.
it. I love it. Like a little bit of like misery tourism or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Fantastic. Rich girls being titillated by poor people murdering each other. And so I guess then let's put everybody in let's orient everyone here a little bit. Thorn, your fight is coming up. You're going to be down in the pit. We'll talk about that. Twilight, are you just are you there with the rabble, keeping an eye on things?
But I have to be close to the pit.
You can be like, I mean, you can be. I think probably what this is like there are. It's probably a situation where it's like a circular pit, and the sort of like VIP areas, which are like cloaked with like a sort of, like you described, like a sort of magical, nimbus that makes it so that nobody can see in, only they can see out. We'll say it has like kind of it's like a shimmery kind of like shimmery light, right? I think those areas are just around the circle also, but they're just more comfortable. Like there's just not as many places to sit, right? Or it's just like it's not as packed in. Whereas around the rest of the circle, people are just packed tight, right? And then on top of one another, like so on bleachers and stuff. Because otherwise it's probably it's not a huge affair, right? I think as you guys have described it, these like sort of like massage areas and where the fighters are at, I think that's like underneath the floor, and they can just walk into the pit from there. But I think that there's like metal grated floors. You can always kind of like look down and kind of see it or whatever, right? But those young women with their house guards get to actually go down there, right? And touch the fighters. And then the bar is like kind of off to the side, right? Okay, good. So you're there with the rabble. Fantastic. Where are you at right now, Dero?
It's hard not to go with my typical, I'm up in the beams hiding. Where would that guy be at? I think
Thapun Kree is like, I think he's basically, he will go and announce the next fight, but then he basically like kind of moves. He kind of like moves. He makes a move around the room, right? So he's always circulating, checking on things, keeping an eye on things.
Maybe I'm in with the crowd for now and trying to look at like his pattern of moving so I can predict where he'll be next.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then, so Talia, where are you?
I sort of imagine that maybe the bar is just like on a slightly raised level from like where the fighting pit and everything is. So just like a couple sets of staircases up to there. And I imagine around the bar, there's probably a few like maybe comfortable booths where people would kind of lounge, a little bit more of a lounge vibe. And I think I'm at one of those tables with kind of like a full circular booth full of people in front of me, and I'm just kind of playing for them. And what I'm trying to do is be a bit of a spectacle so that the person I'm here to meet just notices me and has a good impression of me before I approach them.
I love it. All right, we're going to be doing this is going to be a real smash cutty sequence. So it's going to be like smash cut, smash cut, smash cut. First move here. Thapun Kree. Thapun Kree is there at the pit. I think he basically like kind of stands kind of like between the rabble and the rich people, right, on the outside of the pit, and kind of like announces each fight, right? And he is there, and he is dressed in black, black spider silks, right? Classic drow, ebony skin, white hair, pulled back into a knot, which is the knot is held together by a spider-shaped hair ornament, right? And his voice is kind of magically amplified, even though space is not that huge, but he's still for effect, right? And he says, "And now, the fight you've all been waiting for. Here, hailing from Ashbutan, hometown hero, the Red Thorn." And then that's when you would like come out, the Red Thorn. Actually, tell me, the Red Thorn, if he was going to announce you like maybe more of in a pro wrestling manner, or if he were going to like list off some of your great victories, what would he list off? What's your one like great victory? Who'd you take down once?
I think the I think as the slayer of maybe like a hill giant or something like that. There was
Love
a
it. It's nice.
famous
Maybe-
elegance versus brute strength fight that really made his name.
Nice. All right, hold on. I'm gonna actually realize I need to get a file uploaded to the folder, or add a new thing to the folder, because we don't have a drawing thing.
This could have been just a huge man that was just called the hill giant, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I love that. Let's see here. Make an image board in the folder too, because I have to drop in an image of the combatant here. Fantastic. So he says, "You may remember the Red Thorn. You may remember this combatant from his fight 2 winters ago when he slew the great ogre Rock Crusher, right? Something like that, right? And kind of going on at some length, and then the Red Thorn, right? And then you make your entrance. So what do you look like when you make your entrance out of the gate there?"
I think, yeah, I come in pacing, like not in a straight line, right? I'll immediately come like at an angle out of the entrance, out of the shadows, and like the skin showing upper arms have been oiled up and are glistening. But I think one of the signature things at the beginning is that I hold the chain in one hand and let the end of it, the sickle, drop to almost the floor, and then count the links back up, like as if with like a rosemary beads kind of thing. So I'm like always switching between, I could be able to throw the end of it or use it to swing if someone comes rushing me.
Nice. I love it. And then he says, "And his opponent from the jungles of Baruthan, he is presently undefeated in 12 matches here at the pit," and goes on at some length about his various conquests. "Jilak, the Man Tiger," and the gate opens up, and he's a literal fucking man tiger. He walks out. I have a picture of him for the image board, which I will drop in. Where is Jilak? Oh yeah, here we go. All right, so there's an image board in the folder there. If you guys want to take a look at that, I could here too.
Whoa.
He's got these big leather gauntlets on, and a loincloth covering up his man tiger bits, and a big ass claymore. I mean, this sword is so fucking huge. This is actually an advantage you have here, the Thorn, because normally he's very good at like holding space, you know, like controlling the space with his big ass sword, and his reflexes. But because of your chain, it should even things out a little bit. So he comes out. He's got his big ass sword there, and he lets out like a massive roar, right, that gets the crowd really going. Let's smash cut away to Twilight. Twilight, you're there. I assume you're keeping an eye on things. That you're scoping out the crowd, keeping an eye on the place. That's just a natural assumption I'm making here.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Give me a discern realities roll.
Oh, okay. Roll for your party. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Got an 8. Wait. Just trying to realize, remind me, is that int or whiz?
It's wisdom.
Oh, cool. Oh, no, that's not cool. It's an 8. I was hoping.
You get one question.
Da, da, da. What should I be on the lookout for?
You should definitely be on the lookout for people who are trying to throw this fight the other way. Everyone's cheating. So it's just like, it is a thing that happens. So keep an eye out, particularly for people who can manipulate things from afar, kind of like you. So
Sure.
so I'll follow up with you in a minute on that. Meanwhile, Talia, how's this going? What are you singing a song? Like, what are you doing to them?
Yeah, I'm singing a song. I think I started with just like some of my best works, some of the ones that just complemented my my voice and my instrument the best. But now I moved on to the point. So I'm thinking that this person, unless you have an idea in hand already, I was thinking that they could have been somebody who had been traveling around, maybe an archaeologist or an anthropologist or just a good old explorer. And I think that I'm switching into a song that sort of tells the story of a place that they had been and discovered to kind of subconsciously, compliment them and assuage their ego a little bit. I think it's the Temple of the Golden Sky that maybe they had discovered, like this, peaceful place of anthropomorphic animals and things like that. And,
Right, yeah.
And yeah, so I'm trying to sort of just gently get their attention.
I love it. So we'll say this person, this target, he's an explorer. He's a traveler. Let's give him a name. His name will be Melvor. He's not from around here. And what I think the Shadow Court wants is the Shadow Court wants to know. So he's traveled to this Temple of the Golden Sky, and the Shadow Court is after a particular piece of information about the Temple of the Golden Sky. In particular, they have heard rumors that beneath the temple there is a famous set of labyrinthine vaults called the Sun Vaults. Okay. And they want to know if this is true. Like they want to know if he's seen them. The people who run the temple keep this really, really hush hush. But he's an explorer. He's an anthropologist, archaeologist type. He may have gotten a chance to see them. He may have studied them even. I think the Shadow Court just wants confirmation that they're there, and maybe any extra information would be helpful too. So that's
all right
there. Yeah. So are you trying to trigger a move here or what?
I think this could be a good opportunity for magical music because some of the options could be a member of the audience becomes enraptured with you, a member of the audience gives you gifts or request your services, and any of those, if they could fall on him, would be favorable.
Yeah, roll charisma. That's great. You've already described your song. So.
Yes. That is a 9.
Nice. So what happens on a 7 to 9?
On a 7 to 9, choose one. So I get one of these, and it could either be a member of the audience becomes enraptured with you, the GM will tell you who, or a member of the audience requests your services. And that one doesn't say the GM will tell you who. So maybe I should go with that one. And it could be an interesting thing too, to have them ask me for something.
No, I like that. That's perfect. We can have it be them. That's cool. Yeah, we'll pick up that scene in a minute. Let me
cool.
So I'm going to cut to you in a minute, Derail, because I want to get the fight underway. I think Thabu and Kree would hang out for the first parts of the fight and then kind of walk away, right? But but are you kind of keeping an eye on everything, just generally scoping the place out? You can give me a DR roll for now.
Okay. With green colored dice, 8 is 10.
Nice. You can ask one now if you want.
I want to ask. I think in terms of the guy I'm here to kill, what is about to happen?
Nice. So you said you've been watching his patterns, the way he like goes about or whatever. After every single fight, he goes down below the bar to where the fighters are kind of staged or whatever. He goes down there and he kind of like makes sure that the next fight is ready to go, or he checks on the participants of the last fight, right? Like if they're bloodied or whatever. That area, there's a passageway and a stairway that's unguarded and unmanned and like quite, remote. Like it'd be a great place to keep him. Let's answer one you asked, but that's basically what he's going to do. Is to go down there. But you would have already scoped out that spot as like, oh, there's a spot where I could corner him if I need to. So I'm transiting between them. So he's going to be going there. Like he will go there immediately after he announces this fight. Speaking of the fight, G-Lock, the man tiger, he's got that big claymore. You guys are probably about 20 or 30 paces away from each other, right, Thorn? And he takes the claymore, and you think maybe he's going to rush in for attack, but he doesn't. He swings the claymore in a downward arc, like a downward kind of like sweep in front of him, and the claymore strikes the dirt and stone, kind of strikes it, and the spot where he strikes it, a little localized, miniaturized cyclone, just materializes on the spot and is like flying right at you. What do you do?
I immediately try to roll out of the way.
I love it. Defy danger dexterity, please.
Purple one, 6. It's an 8.
An 8. I've got to refresh myself on the moves here. I've only done this move 9,000 times, but 7 stumble, hesitate, or flinch. The GM will offer you a worse outcome, a hard bargain. I'm going to give you a worse outcome. I think you're going to dodge out of the way, but the cyclone is going to wrap up in your chain weapon, and so you dodge out of the way. The cyclone, like your chain weapon, is basically kind of like caught up in the cyclone and tossed to the far side of the pit. Still not super far away, but you're just disarmed at the moment. And now you're there, disarmed. What do you do?
I've realized, or think to myself, like the way to win this fight is I need to tire him out. He's carrying the big ass weapon. Right, so this kind of half plays into my thing, and being disarmed kind of plays out into, if I just run away the entire fight, the crowd will turn against me. But now I'm disarmed. I have a good reason to be avoiding.
Good. Yeah, I love it. That's perfect. Defy danger, charisma, I think. Like to enact this plan. Yeah.
That's 9.
Nice. So here's what I think is going on. I think you are definitely going to you're definitely going to like do this. You're going to wear him out. I'm gonna have you describe it for me here in a minute. But basically you're going to wear him out and be kind of dancing around. The crowd's going to love it because they think you're in danger, but you're also like avoiding him. So that's really cool. The problem is going to be an off-screen problem that Twilight may have to deal with. So we'll come back to that though. We'll come back to that in a moment. I'm going to cut over to Talia again. Talia, this explorer, Melvor. What do you look like right now, Talia?
I don't think I usually change up my garb too much. It's pretty classic. So I have a red dress. I have sort of like a bonnet cap on, and I have sort of a cape behind me, or a little bit of a cloak. I think I've maybe changed my shoes. So I have like these nice black leathery boots, and I'm holding my instrument delicately, and maybe my hair has a fresh color job, so it's kind of like a pale grayish white.
Fantastic. Melvor is he's not a big strapping world striding guy. He is kind of a squat fidgety man with a big curly mustache and wild tufts of orange hair, right? And he reaches across, he's shorter than you even. He reaches across the table. You know, you've been doing your playing and singing your songs, and he puts his hands with his stumpy fingers on your hand at a moment of pause, and he says, "Oh, Talia, I do want you to know that I have so become entranced with you this evening."
Oh, that's kind of you to say. The songs that I sing, that's part of the goal, I'd imagine.
Could you be persuaded to come back to my rooms for a private performance?
A private performance. I mean, I would be honored to play for someone such as yourself with such a storied background and such accomplishments. But you understand that this is my job, and there are many patrons down here who would pay gladly to hear more songs of your exploits even, and depriving myself of that would be.
But Talia, I know that you are a music lover, and I have an instrument I'd love to show you that I think you'd be able to play very, very well.
Well, now you've got my interest. There's one thing, Melvor, is that I'm sure as you heard, the song of the Temple of the Golden Sky, while lovely, is incomplete. I'm missing a few important pieces that I figured you might be able to fill me in on.
Oh my God, we might be triggering a legit parlay right now. I can't believe it.
Oh
Okay.
my.
OMG. The worst move in the game might be happening right now.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
I know. I'll cut away for now.
Cool.
Okay, well, so at this point, let's give D-Real some screen time. So D-Real, Thabun Kree, you know, this performance down in the pit is going on, and Thabun just kind of like throws his hands up. He's kind of bored with it, but the crowd's eating it up, you know, presumably. But he turns away, and you see him. He's going towards the back room where that little stair. He cuts to the right where there's a little stairway that goes down. What do you do?
I think I want to try to outpace him to where he is going, and my plan is to kill him and then plant the short sword on another fighter down there and be like, "Oh, he treats them poorly, and one just went crazy," right?
Nice. So as long as you're in the shadows, you can't be seen, correct?
Ostensibly. Let's see. When you hide in the shadows or darkness, you cannot be detected. By any normal means.
That's important. Yeah. By normal means. Okay, good. Do you want to continue your DR questions as you see him crossing the way, or just more that you've been observing over the course of the night?
Sure. Yeah. Let's see. I think in terms of outpacing him, what here is useful or valuable to me, maybe?
Like getting ahead of him, or?
Yeah, like getting to a spot, like dark elves can see in the dark, right? So I don't think hiding in the dark is going to be that great. He'll probably be like, "That's
right,
nice.
Yeah.
I fucking see you." So maybe just getting, spotting a location where I'm hidden altogether from view and in the shadows, as opposed to only just in the shadows for him.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so that where the stairway is that goes down, it's actually the ceiling above the landing is actually quite high. It's like high and narrow. You might be able to like squeeze your body, like doing the little like squeezy, you know, hands and feet on the wall thing. So,
love it.
Do you want to spend the last question?
Let's see. Maybe what here is not what it appears to be.
Good. That area, that tall shaft area, is actually quite high. It must go up as high as the top side up to the city. It's in, it would be, this is pretty deep underground, but thick with cobwebs.
I understand.
Indeed. All right, so so Twilight and Thorn. This situation that's going on right now. First of all, Thorn, give me just a little bit of fiction. Like, what does it look like as you're tiring G-Lock out?
Yeah, it's me darting towards the other side for my weapon, which is he's expecting, and so I actually stop, go the other way again.
Mhm.
And I think there's even a moment where I do the same thing again, just to the other side, but then duck in and actually give him a blow with my fists. Like, it's not a big hard thing, but something where it's like, well, shit, I now need to also. He might just start in and try to get inside my reach.
Nice,
So,
nice.
like, I'm playing with that my weapon's over there, but never actually going for it.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to actually give you. I think what your benefit here of your role is, what it's going to do is, I think essentially because he's so exhausted, like once you do intend to like engage him hack and slash style, I'll give you a bonus to the damage on that, I think. So, but that's great. Twilight. We mentioned keeping an eye out for people trying to throw the fight the other way. How dare they? You will notice on the far edge of the rabble side of the pit, you will see a man who has not been cheering, who has, and possibly a woman actually, but I'll tell you why in a minute, who has not been cheering, who has not been totally engaged with the fight. They are wearing a black hooded robe, so they look like a cultist standing there, with their hands in the robe, the hood down over their head, or up over their head, and they're definitely muttering words, like they're muttering something, like muttering some kind of words, and you got a funny feeling they're not praying to the patron saint of pit fighters here. So, what do you do?
So no sign that they have any metal on them, correct?
Not straight away, no. I mean, if you want to keep DR, you want to do another DR, I'll you get a +1 forward when acting on it, or you can take a +4 when acting on it right now to stop it. So.
What do the waiters use? Do they have metal trays?
Sure.
Okay, then I'm going to wait for a waiting person to be coming by this person, and then use my gloves to manipulate the tray so that it smacks the person from behind.
Nice, good. I love it.
So like get them off balance and break their concentration.
That's fabulous. I suppose this is roll wise.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking I can do this, but I'm not sure which one it is.
It could be. I mean, well, first of all, do you have a move that fires off here, or is this just like fictional positioning stuff?
It can be. Well, it's one of my moves is when you use one of your gadgets to get out of a tight spot, describe what it does and then roll. So that could be it.
I like that. Yeah, I think this is a tight spot that you're getting out of. Yeah, that makes sense to me. What's the other one?
The other one is, it doesn't seem close enough to it because I think I have to manipulate one of my gadgets. It's when you quickly fix, repurpose, or fabricate a device on the spot, describe what you're doing with it.
No, I think field test works better here.
Yeah, I think that's it also. So that's with int.
Yeah, roll plus int. You get a +1 as well for following up on your DR.
Awesome. This should be in the bag then. That's ha ha ha. That is, you said with a +1, so that is a 9, 10, 12.
Nice, really good. All right, let's read the move. On a 10 plus, sorry, on a hit it works as expected, but choose one. Okay, well, what do you choose?
The
first one seems like the easy one. But you don't need it to last long, right?
Yeah, that's true. I'll take that one.
Awesome. Just describe what it looks like. You'll knock them. You'll knock them off balance as far as the spell goes.
Right, and there will be drinks on the tray, of course, also. So,
Good,
so the
good.
person's going to be covered in the drinks. So maybe they'll take off their cloak or not. So,
I love it.
yeah. So I expected this to be like an outcry from the person. Theoretically, that's what I think most people would do. And the weak
Yeah.
person saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
And then there's a whole like thing. Yeah. They're trying to get off me. And they're like, oh, right. I love it. That's good. Fabulous. All right, Thorn. So you've got this guy worn down. What do you do?
Well, there's this point where he goes for me, and I want to duck underneath his blade to get basically inside his reach and slide underneath his legs
Mhm.
to then like grab his tail and pull myself onto his back.
Okay, nice. I love it. Do you have any like? Have you grabbed your other weapon yet? Or are you still disarmed?
No, I'm still like because I'm elven, I got to choose one other type of weapon.
Oh, you can have
Where I
precise.
can-
Yeah.
And I've chose my fists, right? So
Oh,
this,
fabulous. Good.
I'm thinking a little bit like Jackie Chan style, tucking underneath the armored opponent and then sliding underneath his legs to get on his back and
Pound away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or choke him out or whatever. I love it. Let's do hack and slash with dexterity. That's precise.
Oh, yeah. I rolled 2 ones.
Mark an experience point. You're about to earn it. Let me turn to my stats here. You go for that. You try to like slide underneath, and I think you even do. I think this back. All that works as you anticipate it working, right? Here's the thing you are not ready for. He reaches back. He drops the sword and reaches back, and he grabs you hard on the back, right?
Yeah.
Now he's a pretty tough guy, and you're an elf. Flinging you off would be difficult still, no matter what, because of his position, right? But something about the gauntlets, you might even see or detect some kind of shimmer of magical energy on the gauntlets. They make him really strong, and he like flips you like easily, like he just tosses you easily like down on the ground. You hit the ground really hard, like pop, and then he just like roars and like drops down and begins like pounding into you, right?
Yeah, I think we like get the shot of I realize that as the gauntlets grab me, and like we get to see Thorn's face, and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah, like this is not.
And then the being thrown onto his back, and the like same thing of like, "Oh," and that's the pain that follows this.
Right, exactly. You take a D10 plus 5.
Ouch.
Armor counts if you have armor.
1. Yeah, that's a decent hit. It's 13. 1 armor is 12.
Yeah, so he flips you down, pound. Twilight, your boy's about to get the life pounded out of him. We'll come back to that. Let's take our break now. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back, see how this goes.
It's nice playing with you again, Matthias.
Yeah.
Been a while, right? Since like Gauntlet Con, maybe.
No, we had the Game of Fallen Empires in the West,
Oh, right.
right? Yeah.
All right. Sorry it took so long. I decided to make a pot of coffee, so I was needing it. Christo, are you there?
Nope.
All right. I'm gonna finish eating. Oh, there he is. All right, never mind. One. Okay. Derail. What's your next move? You got the lay of the place.
Yeah, my plan is to like maybe this is a little bit contrived actually, but my plan is to get him like drop down when nobody's around, stick him with the short sword, and then like when another fighter is around or whatever, just plant it near them.
Yeah.
And then yeah, hopefully it goes well. Basically,
give me a Defy Danger con to see if you can get in position, because that would be like to hold yourself up there, right?
Right. Let's see, con is 0. 9, so that's not too bad.
You are up there, and you will be able to hold yourself in position. You are also distinctly aware of something crawling down from higher up the shaft toward you. So just be mindful of that.
You said we could do flashbacks, right?
Actually, coming up, not for I've got a special like little thing I'm going to reveal to you in a bit.
Okay.
But what's your idea? I'm curious about your idea, though. What's your idea?
I was thinking about flashing back to have something that would repel spiders, like when they got too close, like a smell or ointment or something like that, that would like be foul to them or something.
I like that. I'm into it. If I was going to give you guys a preparation for the next mission, but if you want to spend yours now, you can.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Right. So the way bolster will work in this game is it works as normal, or you can do a flashback to say that you have like a piece of like you've made a special preparation for a situation. So you have like a spider repellent on you. I love it. That's great. I'm going to cut back to Talia. So Talia, let's read the parlay move. I think we're doing a parlay.
Yeah, I was thinking either we could do it now and kind of let that like play out for the resulting scene, or it might make more sense because I have a pipe and pipe leaf. If I could wait until we get up into his room and then sort of loosen things up a little bit and share a little bit of that, and then make the roll.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go up to his room right now, we just say you went up to his room right now. I mean, there's no reason to wait. So.
Yeah, I think I might have just mentioned that as like planting the seed in his head of what I'm after, so that he has like he can think about it a little bit. But yeah,
I mean, let's just move ahead. I'm not super interested in delaying this. So he takes you up. He's got some rooms like here in the building, or like that they go top side. Like there's like building on top of this like underground pit, right? Like an inn or whatever. He's got rooms up there. As you walk into his rooms, what do you see that is? I think he's personalized them. He's made them his own. What do you see that's like a reminder that he's an explorer of the world?
Yeah, I think that he fancies himself an appreciator of other cultures. So he's got various trinkets and maybe even like a tapestry and a few things from other places that he is. He claims that he's gotten them all as gifts from lovers of I guess just him, but I'm sure a few of them he pilfered himself. And then there's probably maps posted up around the room as well. It's all covered in scrawled on paper.
He closes the door behind you and he says, I should point out you don't see any musical instruments up there. Just point of order. Just quick observation.
Yep.
There are 0 musical instruments in this room. he immediately like goes over to like the bed, right? And he has to step up onto the bed because he's short, and so there's like a little stairs there. And he steps up onto the bed, and he says, "Oh, Talia, I want you to know that I have traveled all over the world, and I have been taught by some of the most skilled courtesans and consorts the arts of love."
I visibly take a deep breath for the camera. I say, well, I can see by how you've adorned this place that you've been to a great many places, some that I've heard of and recognize, and many that I haven't. And I'm sure that you've picked up, as you say, many skills that are not known to the people around here. I'm intrigued. And I just take like a
As
step
well
closer
you
to
should
him.
be. Yeah. Are you gonna bust out the pipe leaf soon, or what?
Yeah, I take a step closer, and I think like as we keep conversing, like I'm moving like slowly closer to him, kind of like teasing him a little bit, but like I'm definitely taking my time with it. And by the time I'm kind of like close, like near the edge of the bed or whatever, and he's maybe like moved closer to me or whatever, he's like, you know, leaning up on the edge of the bed, and I say, well, it's not every day that I get a chance such as this to spend time with a man so learned, and I thought that we might enhance the experience.
Oh, what do you have in mind?
I don't tell everybody this, but a woman has to have her vices, you see, and I happen to have a bit of pipe leaf on me that we might partake in to loosen our tongues. And I just trail off and look down.
Yes, I am partial to a bit of pipe leaf. By all means, produce it.
Right. So I pull it out. It's like this old looking like cherry wood pipe, kind of like this deep red mahogany. And I think I probably already, no, I pull out a little pouch, and I sort of like get it prepared for it. And I'm doing it, you know, very slowly and gracefully and stuff like that. That's kind of the way I do things, but I'm definitely embellishing it as well. I'm doing it, making it a bit of a performance in itself. And I think I like move up towards the bed, and I lean up close to him, and I put the pipe just right in between his lips. And
Nice.
and I say, now pull gently.
Roll
And
parlay.
Yeah, strike a match.
Yeah, roll parlay.
Yeah.
Or parlay. I don't know how to say that.
Parlay.
Parlay. It's a crap move. Who cares?
Okay.
Although this is definitely the best use of parlay ever in like 700 sessions of Dungeon World. Like for me, this is it right here.
All right. Well, in classic Dungeon World fashion, or Powered by the Apocalypse fashion, it is a 7 to 9. So let's make this interesting.
Indeed. They need some. So your promise. So the leverage is the pipe weed itself, right? And maybe you also promise like to have sex with him, which is what he wants.
That's sort of the implied.
Yeah. And so he needs some concrete reassurance right now. Hold that thought. Back in the pit, Twilight. Thorn is getting pounded pretty hard here. What do you do?
Wait, so he's down and Tiger Guy's on top of him, right?
Yeah. Just kind of wailing on him, like, you know, pit fighter, like MMA style, right? You know,
And where are their weapons?
on his knees. They've both dropped their weapons, incidentally. Yeah.
They both have dropped their weapons.
It's all fisticuffs right now, but his fists have a lot of cuff.
Yeah, I know they do. Is he? But he's beating. He's not raking. He's
punching. Yeah, he's punching.
Okay. Man, so if he's on top of him, that sort of changes the dynamics of what I was looking to do. But so, which of the weapons is closer?
Probably G-Lox, because he just dropped it to grab Thorn, right?
Okay, and it's a humongous thing according to that picture.
Big claymore. Yeah, it's a massive claymore. It's really big.
He's also got those gauntlets on, right? They
Yeah.
need to be-
They're
Yeah.
leather though. So.
Well, I mean, if it's like the picture, they've got metal bands.
No,
so,
fair enough. Yeah.
So I'm thinking I use my gauntlets to, well, unless there's something else happening that I can manipulate around, like in the area, like if there's another person trying to manipulate this fight that I see that I could somehow use to my advantage, then I think my best bet is to try and manipulate the so the sword, the claymore is the closest thing. Then I'll go with,
So what about your gadget belt thing? Like it implies that you have something that you could like throw up and manipulate or something.
yeah, there is the skill that I can radically change something I've got, or
You also don't want to look like you're cheating though, too. That's the thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
see, that's
but-
part of it, is that it can't be too obvious.
What
You
if
can't
it-
look like you guys are cheating. Yeah.
What if it's like iron filings or something? You know, like really small things that you could fly into him, and then he wouldn't like the crowd couldn't see it or whatever, but it would bother him, right?
Mm. True. I was going to go with something.
Okay, just go with your instinct, whatever you think.
Yeah, no, I'll go with the simpler thing. I'll go with the thing that I can manipulate the metal on his gloves and like make him pound ground instead of pounding thorn.
Give Thorn a chance to kind of to set up. That's good.
Take it away.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
love
want
that. Go ahead.
I don't know what you wanted me to roll with. I don't know if that's defend or
I think it probably would be defend, although I do think that field test works here as well, and I think I always want to go for the more fictionally specific thing here. So let's go with
Okay.
field test.
well, and since it's with end, I have an advantage.
Could be defend too, though. It'd be a good use of defend. I don't know. I'm torn. Let's have it be defend because let's have it be defend with your gadget as the fictional justification for
Sure.
why you're able to defend. So.
Okay, so if it's defend with Constitution, then that is a
You
10.
can, go ahead and roll it with your base stat for your field test though,
Okay.
instead of Constitution.
So it would be a 10 or 11. So it doesn't make a
Okay, perfect. All right. So how many you get? 3 hold. Do you want to spend one right now?
Yeah. I want to open up the attacker to an ally.
Sweet. Give him a +1 forward. Describe what that looks like, and then we'll let Thorn make his move.
So I think what this is going to be is literally it's going to pull him off balance. So he's going to not only pound the ground, it's going to pull him off balance so that Thorn has a chance to make a move.
Nice. So Thorn, what do? He's a little toppled over.
I mean, I was kind of in a situation where I wanted to be just on my back on the ground. That wasn't the good thing about it. But if I'm infighting and he's lost his weapon, and there's an opening, there's no question where the opening comes from. Doesn't matter. I take it, and I think I pull my legs up, pelvis up, and actually grab him with grab his neck with my legs to get onto him, and then I think I want to grab the gauntlets at the rim and break them off.
Oh, nice. Let's make that a defy danger or strength.
Or is it bend bars, lift gates?
Well, that's a good thought.
To destroy
It's a
an
strength roll,
inanimate
no one
object?
though, right? I like it as BPLG too. What are the let me look at the results on BPLG, make sure that makes the most sense.
And I forgot to say that Twilight is like rooting for the other guy to make it less obvious that she's helping.
Go Tiger Dude.
Yeah, so as this is happening against the Tiger Dude.
When you use your strength to destroy an inanimate object. Oh yeah, I'm into that. That's great. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Go ahead and roll plus strength.
Plus strength, yeah. It's an 8 with the +1. It's a 9 from.
Fantastic. Choose 2. And to be perfectly clear, if you want to save the gauntlets, you don't have to like destroy them. You can just like remove them. That's okay too. So,
yeah. Well, it doesn't take a very long time. That's the important thing here. Yeah, I imagine you can fix the thing again without a lot of effort.
Perfect. Just what does it look like?
So I've got him in a chokehold on my legs, right? So he goes to reach for me, and I get at his paws, and with like it's straining of the entire body, right? I'm using the entire leverage I'm trying to get here to rip them off like that, and they maybe go flying into the crowd or something.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, they'd hit the cage, so they'll be in the pit still, but they're all
Yeah.
in for sure. Yeah.
And I think that's when I let go of my let go of him, do the somersault, and land on my feet in front of him.
Nice.
Right.
Fantastic.
Ready to fight.
I love it. It's a great move. T-Rail. Spider is coming down. You see it. It's like the size of a medium-sized dog. Just a pet that Thahbun must keep here. And you're there, suspended. What do you do?
So I had the repellent.
You have the repellent, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and it's lavender, lemon, and mint, which is supposedly
Okay,
repel
nice.
spiders from my Googling.
Nice. Little bit of knowledge dropped for the audience. Fantastic.
Yeah. And so he's close, or
He's close enough for you to act, yeah.
yeah. So I think I want to wait till he just goes past, drop lightly, and then stick the sword into like his lungs so that he can't audibly make a sound.
Nice. And so the repellent sounds like maybe just like smashed against the wall or something to keep the spider at bay. Is that the idea, or?
Yeah. Well, it could be. I would imagine these things to not be too bad of a smell on myself. Like maybe it's a.
Oh, you just put it on you?
Yeah, like maybe it's a cologne thing.
Okay, that's nice. That'll keep the spider at bay. Then that's good. So yeah, he comes down. He's overhead. What's the plan? Just drop down and.
Yeah, and then use my short sword to stick him in the side and in the ribs, hopefully, so he can't like make a cry or anything like that.
I like it. Give me a hack and slash with Dex.
Okie dokie.
Actually, just roll your damage. I don't care. You've got the jump on him.
Oh,
You've done enough work. Just do your damage.
Cool.
You won't be able. You might have to engage him in combat though if you don't get him. So.
Of course, I rolled a 1.
Describe it. You're going to be locked in combat with him,
though. Well, he's a drow, right? So I think he's got like enhanced hearing or something. So I think I drop and I go to put my sword up and into his side, and he like darts away, and it just like clips him instead of digging in, maybe.
Fantastic.
And then probably is turned and angry.
He's pissed. He's like, he kind of like turns and he kind of like narrows his eyes at you, right? And he says, "You've made a very, very bad mistake." And then he makes like a clicking noise, like a click, click, click with his mouth. And he's looking up at that shaft. The spider's not coming. He's exposed. What do you do?
Let's see what I have here. I think I'll just like use that as a like when I see that he expects the spider to come, I think I kind of smile slyly and then dart in for another attack to try to put him off balance as he's like, why isn't my
spider
pet coming? Yeah.
Hack and slash.
And that's strength, right?
Unless your weapon is precise, but yeah.
I don't think so. It's just a short sword.
Yeah, I think rapiers have precise, but
yeah, I don't have one. Let's see. +1. Oh yeah, I rolled 2 1s.
You guys are really sucking it up right now.
Yeah.
You rush up and now Twilight, you should know this. You saw at the corner of your eye, you saw Thahbun go back, and you know that D-Real, I was about to say Weary, you know D-Real is there to take him out. Thahbun is going to, so you rush up and basically like he like holds his hand and palm out like that, and you see like a little miasma of like purplish energy on his palm, and you just like freeze up. you can feel like your legs becoming leaden, and it's like rushing up your body, right? Like it's paralyzing you essentially, like rushing up from the bottom. Do you make any last moment moves before you can't talk again? Do you cry out to Twilight, for example?
Or maybe I have another flashback.
You've spent your bolster.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll cry out, maybe.
It's an animal noise. Make the signal.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I don't want to sound stupid. Right?
And I was wondering about that. Is there something we could have done to have some way to communicate with each other?
I mean, I think just yelling might work fine here, right? Like just some kind of something that would prick up Twilight's ears, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's just like not a very subtle thing, a cry out, and some people might assume that it's the pit fighters below or whatever, but Twilight recognizes it as my own voice, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's coming from below the pit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's coming from below the pit. Do I know where below the pit?
I mean, you can get over to the stairs. It's in the stairway actually that goes down. But yeah. You can get over there easily.
I don't have to though. So I think so. If Twilight hears this, you'll say, "Oh shit!" Which is more damn it, and I think she throws herself into the pit and activates her ectoplasmic. What's the name of the gadget? So she can walk through walls basically.
Oh,
So
nice.
she should then
Cool.
she should if she places her, if she could figure out close enough
That's
where it
perfect.
should
Just
be.
kind of fall into the floor. Yeah,
I
love that. Does that trigger a move, or does it just happen?
Well, it depends. So again, if it's like getting myself out of a tight spot, but it's not really getting me out of a tight spot, and Twilight's actually okay, then that would be one. If there's any jury rigging to it, then that would be jury rigging. But other than that, I think it's just
You're just there. Okay. No, I'm into
that's
that.
all it is.
Yeah. All right. We'll hold that thought. You're on your own, Thorn. You don't know that, but you're here. But at least you've ripped off the gauntlets, so that's a good thing. That'll help a lot.
But Twilight drops into the pit.
Twilight, I imagine, it's off to the side, like where the stairs that go down to the
Okay.
below area, right? Yeah. Not quite in the pit. But in any case, back to you and G-Lock. G-Lock, you guys have some space. G-Lock is turning to grab his claymore. He's like turning to grab the claymore. What do you do?
Yeah, that's my chance to get in, right?
Yeah.
I want to get in and kick his thigh, and then a flurry of blows follows.
Nice. Yeah, hack and slash decks. That's great.
Yeah, nice. That's a 14? No, it's a 13.
That's a good hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
That's an 8.
He's got 12 hit points. If you take that option,
might be a chance. Yeah.
If you take that option, you can take him out right now. You just have to take his hit too, but it's not going to be as bad because he doesn't have the gauntlets anymore.
Let's go for it.
Okay. He will just engage you fisticuff style for a minute, and you'll just take a D8. So.
Yes, I do roll a 4.
Awesome.
And I take have to take the that's 3. That's good.
Awesome. There's going to be a little coda to the fight. I'm going to give you a chance to, well, we'll talk about it, but I'm going to let you describe it here in a minute, but I'm going to cut away for a sec. But you've got him well in hand. Back upstairs.
So they need some concrete assurance of my promise right now, correct?
Right.
So I think that after I kind of I light the pipe for him, and maybe he takes a little bit of a puff on it, and then I would take it away from him, and I would start walking around the room, pacing slowly, and kind of smoking the pipe myself. And I think I'd say, you know, in a place so adorned as this, with relics from so many different places, it seems only fitting that to set the right mood, you might weave me a tale of your adventures. And I take a puff, and I think I take my hat off, and I kind of like
Nice.
toss out my hair, and I put
Classic.
I put the hat on some like little statue of some weird face that he's taken from a different place or something like that. Just drop it on there, and I kind of like continue my pacing around the room, and I say, as you heard before, you know, the city is abuzz with tales and questions about your latest exploit, the Temple of the Golden Sky, and it captures my heart, that place. And if only you could tell me a little more.
He's like, so you're telling me that you're the kind of woman who values secrets that no one else knows.
I think I've finished pacing around the room, and I walk back up towards the bed, and I like get close to him again, and I take a long drag off the pipe, and then like holding the smoke in my lungs, I say, well, I don't kiss and tell. And then I lean in and I kiss him gently and just blow the smoke into his lungs, basically.
Yeah, that's good. He says, well, it so happens that when I was at the Temple of Golden Sky, I was given a tour of the entire complex. And let me tell you, I witnessed some things that would, well, let's just say I saw things that very, very few men have ever laid their eyes upon.
Well, you know that those things that only few have seen are the perfect material for a good tale. And no one really truly can be sure whether the tales are true themselves. It only would serve to further glorify the things that you've achieved, if I could weave that into a story of my own.
And he will proceed to tell you of, he'll tell you of the underground catacombs beneath or the catacombs beneath the temple. He'll tell you about, he saw some of the guardians that guard some of the most sacred treasures of the temple. These guardians were they were large golems, but like made of gold, right? Like cast in gold, shaped like avatars of a sun god, right? Like that kind of thing. He kind of goes into some detail, and you're maybe oohing and eyeing the whole time or whatever, but you're getting what you need for sure.
Cool.
All right. Twilight and Derail. Twilight, you phase down in there, and you definitely have the advantage here because he's not expecting someone to fall through the floor, right? And so you're there. You see this dark elf Thabun, and he's holding his palm out, and Derail is just there, like frozen solid, like with his head flung back, right? Like, and his arms to his side, paralyzed. What do you do?
You know what? I don't think I have any weapons. That was one of the weird things about this character. There's like no weapons to it. Okay, so I need to take a quick look at the gadgets that I have. So what is he wearing? That's always going to be my question.
Kind of like just kind of loose fitting silks, special silks.
Yeah, nothing there that I can really use. Is there any metal in the room?
Sure. We'll say there's like a this is like a big landing that kind of goes deeper down to where the pit and stuff is, and maybe there's like an iron chandelier hanging above.
Oh, cool. So yeah, because one of the things we hadn't been taking into account, and that probably would have meant that we should have been using jury rig before that, is my gloves are explosive, so they're forceful.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So yeah, so that's, I was thinking back, I was thinking, yeah, no, probably with the fist that would have worked, but the other one, probably should have done something different. But anyway, so this case, this is forceful. If I use it as a weapon, then it's, yeah, so I can use the gloves as a weapon, and it'll be forceful, and I guess that makes it depends how you define this. If this is ranged or hack and slash.
Oh, I see what you're saying
Maybe
there.
either.
So yeah, no, I like that. When you quickly fix, repurpose, or fabricate a device on the spot, describe what you're doing.
Well, this one, I'm not actually changing anything. Like this is like the core thing about them is that when you take a
Oh, the gadget belt. Okay.
right, the charge is used to power your gadget. When you use one of your gadgets as a weapon, you can spend.
Okay, nice.
If I spend a charge, I can use int instead of strength or dex.
Oh, I got it.
I'll
I
do.
see.
I'll
Yeah.
do that, and then
Yeah,
when you-
we'll have it be a volley. That sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
So yeah, so this is, I guess we get the dramatic thing like where she sees it and she's like focuses and is using her gloves and then yanks it to pull it at him,
Right.
and she'll probably say, "Not gonna lose another one, damn it!"
Yeah.
Try and like smash him up against the wall. But if it's a
Nice,
chandelier,
nice.
maybe we get those like nice like piercings.
Nice. Well, so you're gonna like smash the chandelier down on him? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
nice.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Roll plus it.
Because then it'll just be a horrible bloody accident. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I decided I was going to roll with int. So that gets me a 7.
Okay.
So
So it's just so it would just be you had to choose from the volley move basically.
yeah. Choose one.
You can't choose the ammo one because that doesn't make any sense in this context.
No, actually, I can. The ammo is the charges that I have.
Got it. Oh, cool.
So I can actually take that, but I'm trying to think maybe something will be more interesting. I'll take. You have to move to get the shot, placing you in danger of the GM's choice.
So that's easy. I know what that's
Because
gonna be.
I'm trying to hit. Assuming he comes out of this.
Mhm.
Assuming Derail comes out of this, I'm trying to hit his flag. That I'm putting myself in a position of danger so I can be rescued.
Yeah, I think what happens is I think this is what it looks like. I think the iron chandelier is kind of like is maybe like on the other side of Derail, like kind of right like where he dropped out of the shaft, and so you have to kind of like maneuver around to get to that. It puts you in range of the spider. That's the tricky thing. And so that's going to work. Go ahead and roll your damage on the shroud.
Okay. I'm gonna roll a d8.
He doesn't have a ton of hit points, so it shouldn't be too bad.
I guess that's an 8. It doesn't look like it changed, but let me check and roll another die and see if they change because I think it's gonna be. Okay. Yeah, it was an 8. I actually got an 8.
Oh, nice. That kills him. Describe it.
Oh, so yeah, he's like, I'm picturing the chandelier like swinging, pulling off the chains, and then assuming it has candles or something like that. So the point, and you said it was sort of a wrought iron one, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
So it's got lots of points to it, probably. So it's like they all get sort of directed at him and swing into him and like
Nice.
throw him up against the wall, and so he's.
Or he probably goes tumbling down the stairs, right? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, hugging a chandelier, that works.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's great. Derail, you begin to come out of the paralysis. It takes a second. You don't even hear it. Twilight, before it's on top of you, it's just like there's a spider just like that like just tackles you down. It's like the size of a dog, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Thorn, G-Lock is there. You have beaten him in submission, and he raises up his paw and he kind of calls out. He says, "I yield, I surrender." What do you do?
Yeah, I think this. We almost made it to a sword.
Yeah.
When I got him and pounded him to the ground there, and I'm taking up his sword.
Okay.
And raising it above my head, like it's really heavy.
He says, "I yield." And what do you do?
And I plunge it into his chest.
Nice. Merciless.
And like let the blood like
wash over
onto
you.
me, right? In front of like
You hit
the
an
crowd.
artery is just like spraying everywhere.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's like Mortal Kombat. I'm here for it. Okay. Nice. Well, Talia, you're gonna get what you intended. I'll let you handle it however you want. Maybe like he gets so high that he just passes out. You don't have to have sex with this guy.
There were two options in my brain. There was either yes, that I would like try and bluster and keep him going and telling stories long enough that he would just keep smoking and get so intoxicated that he passed out. Or if this dude is shitty enough, which I think he might be, because it sounds like he just goes around to different places and kind of steals important cultural relics and like grave robber type dude, I might just off him.
It's up to you. What do you want? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I like that scene better. I think it shows Talia in the way that I'd like her to be shown. I think maybe mirroring the fight below a little bit.
That's right. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
So
in one move, we all off the people that we're fighting against.
One fell swoop, they're all dead.
Yeah, if we were syncing this up in the show, it would definitely be like the sword blow like that, and then me like straddling him on the bed, and then just like plunging a dagger into his chest, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
We're split into 3 scenes, right? Like the screen.
The chandelier goes flying. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, you can just kill him as you wish. I don't need to move there. Just tell me what it looks like.
Yeah, I think we've gotten, I definitely stalled out for a while, like kind of just walking around the room and maybe like undressing a little bit, just teasing him and I still wanted to get him to smoke as much as I can to get him unawares as possible. So I think he's pretty blitzed at this point. And I think I finally, get him onto the bed kind of thing, and I'm kind of like creeping and like crawling up onto him, and just getting close. And I think I say, well, at least take comfort in the fact that I'll still tell your tale, but you might not be around to reap the benefits. And I think a little bit of a look of confusion, and I just immediately like quickly reach out, put my hand over his mouth, pull my dagger from my belt, and just, yeah.
Nice. Good. All right. Strike a blow against colonialism. I'm here for it. All right. Awesome. Well, the last thing we got to wrap up is just a spider thing, I guess. So let's get this done. So the spider's on top of you, Twilight. Derail, you're not quite back in the action yet. Twilight, what do you do?
So what am I on? What is the ground?
It's just like stone. Mason stone.
Okay, yeah, that won't help me.
Could be as simple as just pushing it off.
Could be. You're right, but so this is like the ground floor. Right, there's nothing.
This is like a middle thing. It's like a landing of a stairway that's that like kind of goes further down to where the pit and stuff is. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think it's like a dog. Man, well, that's pretty heavy. I guess actually, the first thing that came to mind was that just for her to turn on her belt again and phase through the floor.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which might lead to another drop, but
defy danger int, I think.
Yeah, so I don't take it with me.
Defy danger int.
Come on. I'm rolling pretty well. That's a 9 + 2. That's an 11.
Nice. You'll get away. And I think that's where I want to kind of end this sequence. Because the spider won't attack Derail, the Derail can come out of it and then just murder it or whatever.
Well, I was thinking even just leaving it and going up into the crowd again, so that people are like, "Oh, his spider went mad and killed him or whatever." And
and grab the chandelier and threw it at him.
Right. Well, I would think just like sever the top part or whatever, right? I don't know.
You guys don't have to explain yourselves. It's fine. It's Ashpaltan. Murders happen. So what I do want to do, though, however, is I want to just mostly kind of epilogue this scene or these events because the timings were a little like not quite like I think Derail and Twilight and Thorn, all of your stuff was all happening kind of in real time with each other, right? But Talia's thing is like more extended in time, right? So Talia's thing probably extends like through the night, right? So what I want just to kind of like wrap it up is for all of you guys just to kind of show like, the end of this scene and kind of, what you do, and kind of as you're making your way back to town or back, into the, the city or just whatever. I just wanted to get a glimpse of you guys at the end, essentially. And you'll get paid too, Thorn. You were also getting paid to do that fight. So
Bonus. Maybe
I picture Twilight needs to get out probably with Derail because she has to get back by the spider somehow.
Well, I was thinking if it is stupid that the spider killed him with a chandelier, then maybe I make it a statement, right? I killed the spider and make it like obvious, like don't fuck with whoever did this or whatever.
Right.
And then I imagine maybe us going up through that shaft because it has the spider silks there. So maybe we could just climb up and make our way that way. That's our exit.
Okay, so you climb up the shaft to escape. I like that.
Mhm.
Twilight, where do we see you at the end?
So is this meant to be a group thing or just a generic thing?
I'm just gonna let Derail off. So
Um,
your little mini epilogue can look like whatever you want to do.
So I'm game with going up the shaft. I think that's probably that makes a lot of sense. That's how we'd get out, and she's all gung ho for it. You know, that's fine. And I think what Derail is going to see is that he's seen when they get up and out of it. Twilight, who's usually pretty sassy and confident all the time. Once he gets out, she like runs up and hugs him, and she's crying, and she said, I heard you cry, and I thought I was going to lose somebody else. I don't have anybody here. Everybody that I knew in this time is gone. So all I have left is the people that were on the mission with us. I can't lose you. Yeah, and then she's like feels that this is getting awkward and like backs off and like wipes her tears and
I think I'm like shocked at first, and then I like give in to the hug, and then once it gets awkward, I think he like shakes it off and then says, "I owe you more than one drink," and that's like the deflection to like we'll just go drink.
that works.
Fantastic. Thorn, what does your mini epilogue look like?
I think we see Thorn sitting on a bench in one of the stalls and like wringing out his hair from the sweat and blood, basically. And there's a shadowy figure behind him. We never pan up to see their face or anything. And he drops like a bag of coins on the bench next to him.
Nice.
I think Thorn's like, when I heard you bought my debt, I was expecting not to be fighting in this year again.
And it's good. Yeah, I know. I like it. And I think that...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, finish.
Magic weapons and all. And he kind of spits into the puddle that's already in front of him.
I think that person doesn't say a thing, but just like kind of taps you on the shoulder, like "good job." Sorry about your feelings, and then like walks off. Right? And G-Lock, per the rules of the fight, because you killed him, you can't keep all of his stuff. That stuff will be sent to his next of kin. You do get to keep one thing of his though to claim as a trophy. It can be some of his weapons or some part of his body or something. It's up to you.
Yeah, his hide.
His hide. Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's gruesome. I'm here for it. Fantastic. So you can put Mad Tiger hide on your gear if you wish. All right. Talia, give us your epilogue.
So I think that after it's finished and it's quiet in the room, Talia can act her ass off if she needs to, but as soon as it's done, she goes back to being very solemn and grave and serious, and just walks efficiently around the room, picking up the clothing that she had kind of discarded. And every time she picks it up, she because this room is full of stolen artifacts, basically, she takes the hat off of the bust, and then the bust is also wearing like a ruby necklace that she takes it off and puts it on herself. And maybe where she had draped her cloak, there's like an ancient scroll in a case that she pockets, and like a key. She's just kind of taking some of the stuff that this guy doesn't rightfully own either, and she'll do something with it. But because they're all historical artifacts, and this is extremely interesting to her, right?
You
But
can take, I love it. You can take cultural objects, 3 uses if you want. So
Cool.
to spend
Thank
as
you.
wish.
Yeah, and I basically just take all of those things, and then I'm dressed, and I kind of like I listen at the door, and I can hear that there's kind of a hubbub downstairs. I imagine they're kind of cleaning up from what happened earlier, and there's probably authorities involved. And she recognizes that she does not want to go down there, so she turns and looks at the window and just kind of strides up to it, opens it up. This is all very like spirit-like, the way she moves. She kind of just like flows along, like she's not, it's very fluid, and she just steps out the window gracefully onto the roof and kind of just jumps down a few very high jumps. She's pretty dexterous as well, and then just kind of lands on the ground, gathers herself a little bit, and walks off.
Nice. One little interlude scene, and then we'll go on our break. Maybe the next day, the next night, whatever. It's not super important times. You are all gathered in the Temple of the Shadow Court with Dawn. I haven't found a picture of Dawn yet. I need to. But as I described previously, she wears that simple rough spun like monk, kind of robe, and no shoes. And she has brown skin and long black hair, tattoos probably. And this is a few days later, we'll say. Actually, I want to kind of advance time just a little bit. A few days later, so your hit points are all good. I think you're all taking a meal in a very simple stone room. The meal is, let's do some George R.R. Martin food describing here. I love that. Everyone drop in one thing that's in the meal. I'll start. I think there are grilled peppers.
Deep fried scorpions.
Ooh.
I'm trying to think of something to do with like a delicacy of spiders, like sort of like the Indiana Jones chewed monkey brains, but with spiders, and then me visibly being like, not today. I don't know what it would be. Maybe just spider meat or something, right? Because there's giant spiders in this world. So
Poached spider eggs.
yeah.
Ooh, that's nice.
Let's say that there is there's like fire roasted, actually no, let's go with I think there's owlbear eggs.
Ooh,
that
that's dangerous.
like, yeah, definitely, but if we're going all out here, I think they're probably boiled and then buttered with some kind of salty spread or something like that.
Nice. In our world, as established in the previous campaign, an owlbear will hunt down anyone who's touched the egg, maybe consume the egg. Like you guys may have like angry owlbears on your tail in the future because of this.
Oops.
This strange biological urge that owlbears have, right? In sense of things. What do you think, Thorn? What's on the plate?
I think they're sliced open apples that are just dotted with cloves, and
Nice.
yeah,
I'm having the apples and the peppers personally. You guys could eat the scorpions and shit. Maybe it's all Dawn eats. She eats the apples and the peppers. Sees if you'll eat the scorpions. So you guys are eating. She's congratulating you on a job well done on your previous missions. You all get paid as well. You each get 50 coin for your participation in those events. Your 75 coin from earlier actually technically came from the fight pit thorn, so you can take another 50 as well. And yeah, she says, I have another mission for you, one that promises to be quite dangerous. But since 3/4 of you have survived a delve into a shadow vault, I have no doubt that you'll be able to accomplish it. And then she rolls out a map of Ashbotan table, and she circles a block of buildings. Here in the city is the home of Vatulan, the head collector. I'll type that in the chat. Vatulan is a necromancer of the Bone Court. He travels around the lands, attending public executions, collecting the heads of the executed, prepares them, puts them in special boxes, and then uses his magics to reanimate them. The heads, of course, can speak of anything they knew about in life. We have been employed to acquire a particular head in Vatulan's collection. The head of a vizier who betrayed his king. The vizier's name is Azuman. I need for you all to go to Vatulan's home and acquire this head. We have, over the next few days, an opportunity to move because Vatulan is away. But, fair warning, he will not have left his lair unprotected. So,
I
go
think
from
Twilight finishes the intro, so like wipes some of the scorpion whatever off of her, and she says, "Damn, Vatulan's in this timeline. I hate that guy because we were competing for the same thing because I would go to the executions also because that's where I got my ectoplasm. But if I took the ectoplasm, he couldn't have the heads, and so he was he was just always in my business. This is I am so in for this. Do we have to leave the house standing?"
She says, "Good, Twilight. You have learned something very, very important, which is the courts, the Hunter Court, the Phantom Court, the Bone Court, the Shadow Court, and all the other courts. They are uniquely unaffected by these manipulations in time and space. Vatulan has always lived in Ashbotan, and he will always be in Ashbotan. So,
Not for long.
I only want the head. I don't care if you encounter the necromancer by chance. I don't care what you do to him. Go to your fires. Contemplate. Sit in meditation and contemplation and consider the task before you. I will be awaiting your results." And then she stands up. pops a scorpion in her mouth, leaves. Let's take a 5-minute break. When we get back, I want to hear about your anchor fires. These are the somewhere in the city where there is a fire, somewhere in the city where there's a fire where you go to reflect on things, and importantly, where you go to sort of be present in the world. Because especially those of you who have vault jumped, that's what we're calling it now. For those of you who have vault jumped, you need it, right? It's oriented. It orients you. There's a custom move associated with it too, so we'll talk about that as well. But let's take 5.
So Fraser, if your fire's a lighthouse, does that mean we're on the sea?
I don't know. I guess so. Maybe it's a coastal city or something like that, or maybe there's just like, a big body of water close by, and there's like a harbor or something like that that maybe is even no longer in use. Something. I don't know.
Or maybe
We're
we're in a desert that has a sea of fog around it. I don't
We're in Baltimore.
Okay. The Inner Harbor? Okay.
I'm changing this into The Wire.
Okay, as long as it doesn't go Generation Kill, I'm okay with that. Has anybody leveled up yet?
Close. I'm at 7.
I was gonna say you had some some of you had so many fails. So many
Yeah.
misses, sorry. That's...
Fail.
Yeah, I don't think I've missed once today. I gotta be
Yeah, me
different.
neither.
As compared to games with LOL where I had 6 in a row.
Ooh, rough.
Yeah,
Was it
that
Fate?
No, it was not. It
Oh.
was powered by the apocalypse, and it
Oh.
was Worlds in Power.
Worlds in
Worlds
Power.
in Peril. Sorry,
Oh.
Worlds in Power. Worlds in Peril.
Yeah. Did you
Like
see?
Circle of Power and Worlds of.
Did you see? Not Johnstone. Jonathan Walton pretty much finished his stretch goal thing. It looks really cool too. Parallel
yeah.
worlds.
Yeah. No, I'm curious. I want to see it because I don't think that game's got enough play yet. It's got some bumps to it, and I keep hoping Kyle will run it for the Gauntlet or something like that so that we can see it.
Yeah, I
see
keep
more of it
bugging
in
him
play.
to do it too, but he's like
Done with it, isn't he?
what? He just has like a sore spot with it just because he produced it with 2 other guys, and one of them was basically just like hit and ran with it basically, and like the rest of the stock they shipped to RPR from this one guy who had it all, and he didn't package it right, so basically all of the remaining stock was damaged. So Kyle was just pissed. He's like, you had one job.
Is this for Cascade?
No, this was for Worlds in Peril,
Peril,
the remaining stock of it.
Yeah, no, the books that he gets published, they look really nice.
Worlds of Peril is really beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. I have one niggle with it. It's just slightly smaller than a normal larger hardcover book. Like it's between Digest and the biggest.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel.
Right. Yeah. So it has like on a shelf. It's kind of like
a weird place.
Weird place. Yeah. That's okay. Very minor.
You'll just have to keep buying Sam Joko's stuff. So you'll have like a good lineup.
Oh, is the Veil that way too? I can't remember.
Yeah. I think.
It is.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get. I think that'll be like our staple, right, for the publishing thing, because it's
ours will be the books that don't.
Well, it's the largest you can go in single column, so that you can view it on a screen really well.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's smart.
Without it being super annoying in 2 column. So
Yeah. That actually might end up being a good size for the Codex Annual or the Codex Volume 2, honestly, because
I think it's the
Oh, yeah.
perfect size. People just don't use it that much
Mm.
for some reason.
Oh well. Okie doke. So I want you guys to have an appreciation of the timing here, because you don't have to just like walk out the door and go to what's his name? Fuck, I've already forgotten. Vatulan's place, right? In fact, you've got a few days here. And so what I want this to kind of look like is we're going to go look at your anchor fires first at some point. We'll do that. There's a move associated with that. We're going to fire that move off. That has implications for the rest of the adventure next session. But also, if you want to frame up some scenes where you try to hit people's flags, maybe you meet in a bar or you go to wherever they're at, that kind of thing. It's also a great opportunity to do that as well. So that's kind of what we're doing right now, just some sort of loaded downtime. Okay. So with all that in mind, let's talk about these fires. This is an important part of the campaign. No matter what, members of the Shadow Court, although we never saw this with Weary, it's okay, it's new. Members of the Shadow Court have a quote fire. That's a sort of, it's not always literal, right? Like it just needs to be a place where there's light and shadow. That's important. Okay. But it can be a literal fire too. But somewhere in the city. Whoever wants to share what their fire is like, who wants to describe it first, by all means, let us know.
For me, I had the idea of a lighthouse. I don't know if they're I don't know the city very well, so maybe there isn't a lighthouse, but I was thinking it would be neat if there was one, because typically lighthouses have to turn on at a very specific point. So it would be the same in every world, even if the lighthouse has moved places or something. It'd be easy to find one. They would turn on at the same time, and they'd be comforting in that.
Yeah. Well, so I imagine Ashbulton, we can say that it has an entrance. One of the entrances to the city leads out to a bay. I like that.
Yeah.
And then there can be in this setting, it would be like a tower where they just light a big bonfire, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that you can see generally where to go at night, right?
Mhm.
So I like that. And maybe this is outside the city gates too. It might be outside the city gates over near the bay. I like that a lot. Why have you chosen that as your place?
I think it's from a childhood that's now gone, because the elves are occupying a very different space now. Whatever happened in the past that almost wiped us out, now we're plentiful in this place. But I think maybe it had some sort of refuge for me in the past, and now it's just a comforting thing that I go to. And then, like I said, the important part is that it has to turn on when it becomes evening, so it's always a constant in any world.
Yeah, it's good. We have a custom move here. I've put it in the chat. The formatting looks weird, but you should be able to follow along.
I'm excited to level up and fail.
When you spend some time in contemplation near the fire that anchors you to this world, I'll put the text of this in a separate document in the folder too. But roll plus wisdom. On a 10+, you choose 2 from the list. On a 7-9, you choose 1. The list doesn't show up perfectly because of the chat, but basically here are the options. The shadows whisper secrets to you. Hold 2. You may spend that hold to reveal that the shadows whispered something to you about your current situation. The GM will tell you something useful. You can choose the shadows comfort you, which lets you remove an ability. You can find a shadow token, a small object highly prized by the shadows of Ashbulton. Describe it and add it to your gear. This token can be used to bargain with any shadow in the city. The shadows can perform many magical effects, but things commonly bargained for include the opening of a shadow gate, being cloaked in magical darkness, or employing the shadow as a spy. Last choice is the shadow bolsters you, increase your preparation by 1. On a miss, the shadows whisper a death prophecy about one of your companions. Hold 1. This hold can be spent to initiate my Visions of Death move, except both you and the target of the prophecy get 1 experience point. So the idea here is when your companion is about to roll a move, you can say, oh, this is what the shadows whispered to me about. And then you both get to mark an XP, and if they get a 6- on their roll, they roll for last breath. So
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Well, bigger stakes than normal. I like how in roll for my party I have 3 dice, and currently they're all at 1, so it has to be better than that, right? So.
we shall see.
Oh yeah. So 8 plus my wisdom is a 10.
Nice. You get to
Yay.
choose 2. What do you want?
I do things.
I might put this text somewhere else so it's easier to read. Hold on. Somewhere else in the folder. Because presently it's just kind of not great to navigate.
I feel like I'll need, and I'm very into flashbacks, so I'll take the preparation, and I'll take the whisper one so that I can do the cool stuff later.
So it whispers something to you about your current situation, or they whisper some secrets to you. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here I made a doc. It's in the folder, but I'll link it here too if you guys want to read it better.
Or maybe a token, because that's the one that makes me go invisible sometimes.
The token can be used for all kinds of magical effects, and I'm pretty open to it. The idea is basically that it's something that the shadows, for whatever fucking reason, they care about, and they want it. So you can
Gotcha.
bargain with them on for it.
Then maybe that one. Then yeah, that sounds cool.
Let me paste this here. So
Tokens and flashbacks. That's what I need to succeed.
what's the token? Describe the token.
It's something that the shadows want, right?
Yeah, and you find it, and you just know instinctively it's something they want.
What if it's like it looks like a crystalline thing, almost like a hexagonal coin, like a currency or something.
Mhm.
But it's transparent, except in the middle there's actual like darkness trapped in it.
Oh,
Like
nice. So that's a literal token.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could be just like a toy or a button or something, right? It doesn't have to be like a literal token, but I like a literal token too.
Yeah, I like the idea of this trapped darkness that, like, they hold it
They
important
want it
as
free.
if free, like their child or something. It's not meant to be in this coin.
Yeah, that's nice. Good. Fantastic. I love it. Who else wants to describe their fire?
Yeah, I've got something.
Please do.
I think it's an actual tavern,
Okay.
and officially it's called the Stick and the Snare.
Okay.
But everybody just calls it the Drum. Let's meet up at the Drum.
Nice.
And that's where Thorn basically works as a bouncer.
Okay.
I don't know what a good district for it would be, but
It's wide open right now, so whatever you think is, you could describe it and define it.
somewhere where like many people like if there were any dogs, that might be like a part, right?
Okay.
Where like a lot of rumor gets turned around and
Nice.
stories
Near one of the
from-
gates, probably, right? Probably
Yeah.
near one of the gates. Okay.
and he's got like a little room like for working as a bouncer there, a little room underneath the roof. Probably can't even stand up fully in it.
Okay.
But his fire there is basically like the daily routine of like spending the night working, sleeping in late, like getting some food as like the old scraps from last night,
Nice.
and doing that on repeat.
Fantastic. I love it. Go ahead and roll your move. Roll plus wisdom.
That's a 6, and that's a miss.
A miss. Mark an XP. You have a prophecy to be used at any point in the future, even if we don't see your character for a while. You will be able to unfurl this one, drive-by shooting style on one of your
Two series later or something. It's just
Yeah,
like,
like,
and
oh,
you
hey.
might die.
This happened 3 months ago, but your character might die right now. Just make a note on your character sheet that you have it.
Yep.
Fantastic. Those wily shadows. Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Go, Mark.
So I think that when Talia goes to find her fire, she has a place in mind. She goes to a theater called the White Rose Theater, a place that she had been to many times before in Ashbeltan, except this time she's hoping that something is different about it than it was before. And it turns out that she's right. There's an old couple that own the theater. The theater was originally commissioned by some rich theater-loving aristocrat, and it's a large, classic, like Viennese style, like open theater with like many rows of balconies and seats and stuff like that.
Nice.
I think it's usually operas and large performances that happen there. However, in this theater, when this aristocrat originally commissioned it, they had a private room or study installed all the way at the top. I think there's a winding secret staircase to access up there. And then there's just like a little window that you can open up to look over the entire theater and see and listen. But in the study itself, it's got shelves and a desk, and everything's like dusty and ancient looking when I go in there, because I think before on the other timeline they had closed it off because it was haunted or something like that.
Nice.
But I think that
Now
this
you're the
time,
haunt. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, and this time nobody really knew about it, and when I asked them, they were kind of caught off guard, like, how do you know that it's there? And I think that I offered to score some of the works that happen there, to write music for the theater, in exchange for living up there, basically, or being able to spend time up there.
Nice.
And I think there's a fireplace as well. So
nice. Are you signed up for Leisure Domain by chance, which is the next one?
no, I'm not.
No, it's too
I
bad,
missed out
because
on
that one's
one.
it's about an opera, so it'd be really,
Perfect.
yeah, like perfect. But we'll see.
Yep.
Fantastic. Roll a move.
Cool. So I imagine that this room, after it was commissioned, was probably passed down through some aristocrats. So there's probably ghost of theater loving and art loving folks here that might be able to speak to me. And that's a 4.
You also will have you can use yours next session for sure, right, on someone. But you get
Cool.
one of those. They've whispered a prophecy of death about one of your companions.
Nice.
Note that on your sheet.
All right.
Twilight, what do you got?
Okay, so Twilight was struggling with this. So the flashback, because when we first came back, she started looking for a fire, and her original fire was a library, with a lot of scientific research stuff, but that library is no longer the same. So you picture her going in and expecting to find it. She opens the doors and walks inside, and it's all a library of magic, not science. And so she's, crestfallen, but okay, she has a backup. So she goes to her next one, which is basically the armory or the workshop area, where she knew a lot of, engineer types that were, it was not just, swords and shields. It was also making little gadgets, working, working with molds and stuff like that. And she goes in there, and there's none of that either. It's all swords and shields and armor, and no intricate details. And so she's lost. And that's what led to the scene with Diriel saying that she couldn't find her fire. But I think after she opened that up to Diriel, she realized that there's sort of one thing she still has left. And so she goes to the cemetery, and she's looking for her brother's grave. Because that was sort of the holding point for her in many cases, was her brother. That was really important and defining in her life. But the cemetery is different also. It's not tombstones because of there's so many elves now. The tradition has changed, and so instead of having a tombstone, you have a tree. And so it's sort of a small forest with different sized trees in it. So you got the light and the play of shadows there. And she spends hours looking for it, and she finds his tree. He is indeed, in this timeline, he's dead. And so she sits down in front of it, and she pulls out she has a little gadget that was a little toy that he had. I was thinking sort of a top, but maybe more like a Rubik's Cube or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
That will spin and maybe click. And so she puts it down, and she probably has some sort of light source that she carries with her out in this, because it's a sort of a dark area. And so she's got it, and she's playing with it, and then she sighs, and she pulls out her toolbox, and she opens it, and she does what she does to pull ectoplasm. And so what she wants to do is she wants to pull her brother's spirit, if she can get it, into this little toy, so that she can always have him with her. And
Nice.
is what she's looking to have to be her fire.
Oh, I love it. It's good. Yeah. Fantastic. You have a mobile fire. I like that. It's pretty good. Roll plus wisdom.
Okay.
Portable fire.
Well, and it's going on the idea that she's realizing that the people she's with and she cares about are what's going to have to be her fire.
Yeah, no, I think that's fabulous.
Okay, I don't think Roll20 is working for me. Hold on, because I
Or
don't
roll
believe
for
it.
party, rather.
Roll for a party, yeah. I don't think it. Otherwise, it just rolled the exact same thing that I had previously, which could happen. It doesn't seem likely.
I see a 6 and a 3.
I know, but that's exactly what it was previously.
Okay.
I wish it moved slightly so that you could be sure that it re-rolled, because I've had the problem before where it didn't. Oh, there we go.
Okay, we'll have that instead. Still snake eyes. All right, death prophecies all around, except for derail, which Phil left out. Derail. Maybe all the prophecies will be about you. Fantastic. Note that in your gear. Or in your or wherever you choose to note it. Okay, well, so we've got I think we've got about probably 15-20 minutes left before I want to kill or cut the session. So if anybody wants to frame up scenes, particularly with the aim of hitting a flag, is really good. Go ahead and call that out. Otherwise, I don't think I want to get going on the. We'll have Vatulan be the thing next session. So.
Twilight, I wouldn't mind if you like. I wonder if we're close enough that we would share our fires together, because I think telling you it's impossible what you want to do with your brother maybe before would be interesting, because I'm elven, so it'd be like a torn sequence for me, because as you say, for me, it's like a natural thing. Like, you become a tree, you go back to the earth, and you're like, I want to take a person and then imprison them in a doll. Right?
Maybe you guys are just talking about this plan. I like that. I mean,
well, and the other thing is, maybe it didn't work. Maybe I tried to do it, and that's what that was. It didn't work, and then so maybe I come to and I'm realizing it's just the people I have left are all I have left. So I come back to Dioreal, maybe following Dioreal to the lighthouse. I don't know, or wherever we might meet up, and maybe that's where the death vision.
Maybe you're like upset again, so we go to the pub, and I like buy you drinks. And then that's when I like am vulnerable enough after it to take you to the lighthouse, perhaps, and then tell you the story about like my childhood and why it's the lighthouse and stuff. And that's how I reciprocate before. And then, I would say that I'm sorry that your plan didn't work, but perhaps your brother is still living on in the tree, right? So maybe that's why it wouldn't work. And you could still visit him, and maybe that would be your fire, at least here.
It sounds nice, but it still feels so empty. It doesn't. I appreciate what you're doing. It just, it doesn't quite. I mean, everybody else has something solid, and I don't. I guess I just have to keep looking. I'll try what you say. Maybe I can make the tree work. Maybe that will be my. But what are the odds that the tree's always going to be the same?
Well, but if your family will always be there one way or another. So if your brother is not is not a tree next time, then you'll have the pleasure of finding him again in another way.
But can he be my fire then?
Well, he'll always be in the world in one way or another. And you just have to trust yourself that you'll find him every time.
Have you lost everybody?
When I was young, and then I tell you the story of the lighthouse I haven't concocted.
So we flash through that, and Twilight says, "That's really sad. I had no idea."
Exactly. It is very sad. I think what I'm thinking is we probably, like, as a family, had fled to this lighthouse, and so that was like our sanctuary. And then probably my family died because eventually they left the lighthouse to go get food or something like that, and were killed. But that's still my bastion or something like that, right? Something really sad like that. So you're right.
Maybe we'll flesh it out more in the future, but
Yeah.
indeed. Any more scenes framing? Any more scenes to frame from anybody?
I think I'd like to have a scene with Thorn, if that's all right with you, Matthias.
Yeah.
I was thinking that since you were injured after that fight, even though we had time, maybe like shortly after the fight, I could have gone to the tavern that you stay at, and maybe I have herbs and poultices and could have like sort of patched up your wounds and done a bit of medic work with you.
Yeah, that's definitely something he would have needed
Cool.
after that fight.
So do you want to kind of describe the room a little bit that we're in while I'm sort of patching you up?
Yeah, it's it's like on one of the corners of the building. We've got like the two roofs meeting there, so that makes it really almost claustrophobic. But maybe we've like opened a window that's more of like a little shutter to let in some light and air from the outside. When we probably still have to light a candle or something for some more light. And I got a shabby bed, but I got a really nice, luxurious new carpet
Nice.
that looks like Tiger Man's hide.
Okay, well, I think that I'm maybe you're sitting on a chair and I'm kind of like dabbing at some of your wounds with some sort of tincture or something like that. And I think I'd say like, I was a little preoccupied, so I wasn't privy to the fighting, but Twilight told me you fought bravely, and I looked down pointedly at the carpet ferociously.
Yeah, I'm like wincing at every like at every little bit of treatment of yours, right? Like I think, yeah, like there's never like, or in fighting there's never like a sound of pain, or almost never, right? Except when it's really excruciating. But when he gets like treated, there's like everything.
Yeah.
And
I think
yeah.
I think you comment on that and say like, although I'll never understand how you managed to fell a giant tiger man without so much of a sound, and every time I barely touch you, you cry out like a cub.
I grumble something under my breath, and I'm like, well, I don't know what you're using on me, but that that tincture, I mean, the way it smells, that's how it burns.
It's never pleasant, but that's how you know it's working. Now,
how it's what?
It's working. It's doing its job.
Oh yeah, you're using really strange manners of speak. Where are you from, anyways?
Well, I suppose you're new to this group, but I've spent my life traveling a longer life than you might suspect, and I've been to many places, picked up many habits from them and from the people I've met there. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the things I say come off strangely, but that's just the nature of our work, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. There's many travelers come through the drum here at the gates, but never heard your
Yes.
dialect.
Well, a lot of who I am comes from the man I used to love. He was a curator of the Shadow Court, like myself, one tasked with upkeeping knowledge, information, chronicling certain aspects of the world. But while I'm more concerned with, and she kind of tilts her head a little bit, very, very pale skin, ghastly kind of complexion a little bit, while I'm more concerned with the strange, the supernatural, he was a fighter like yourself, traveling the world, learning from masters and warriors in many places. But
Yeah, and I do perk up hearing that, right, and turn a little bit to uh, get a glimpse of you, because I'm like, I think what's going through Thorn's head is like, oh wait, if you're like more involved, higher up, this might be very important for me to get rid of my debt, and like, right, this might be an opportunity to not just be the lowly pawn of the shadows.
Yeah. She says he was wonderful, a master of none, but a jack of all trades. But you seem to be very deft, very accomplished, talented at what you do.
Oh,
Your style is incredible to behold.
but what use would the shadows ever have for one of me?
Not everything the shadows do can be subtle. Sometimes they have need for a blunt force, but you fight with grace as well. I think that with time, the court will take notice of you. They're always losing fighters, you see. This is a dangerous business, as my ex-husband would attest. But if you survive the task that they give you and continue to climb ranks, they treat their warriors well.
That feels good. Is there more here?
No, it's
Did
It's
you
working
both,
on.
did you both hit flags?
Yeah.
Was there flag hitting going on?
Yeah, I think at that point, like, you know, the seriousness kind of dies away, and she's said more than she usually would to anybody, really. And she
Yeah.
kind of, you know, finishes patching up the wound, kind of ties tight the gauze around whatever it is, and say, well, I suppose you're in condition to continue what you've been doing. Just try not to encounter any more whatever this is. And I just point at the ground.
Yeah. It was a sentient being who's now being used as carpets. Okay, fantastic. All right. Any more scenes? Are we good?
I think I might want to have one quick scene with Talia, if that's possible.
Sure, go for it. Just frame it up. Where do you find
Yes.
her?
Well, I picture this being Twilight coming to Talia's, wherever Talia is staying.
Yeah, she would also probably hang out in like the lobby of the theater a lot. I imagine that might be a place where people just like congregate and gather. It might be a little bit of a ritzy establishment, sort of.
But where do you sleep? What's your room? What's your lodging? Or do we not tell each other? Is that a secret we all keep from each other?
No, I'd probably take you up to the kind of observatory overlooking the theater. I think
Talia was just in Thorn's room, right? So
I was just in the tavern, and that could have even been the tavern that you guys were getting drinks at. But if you wanted to be more personal, I'd be happy to take you there.
Yeah, because that was what she wants to ask a personal question, like as in relating to her personally, but also it's not something she'd want to do publicly.
Sure. So maybe you've expressed interest in the theater in some way, and I kind of like laugh a little bit initially. Like I could tell you're not usually the type for it, but I think I'd bring you up and get you a comfortable seat in front of the window so we can watch.
Mm-hmm. And so, so are you saying that the theater's going on now?
It could be. I think that'd make for a better scene.
Well, why don't we say that? Okay, and then we get to the intermission, maybe. So yeah,
Sure.
So the theater can be going, and I'd actually like to say that Twilight impresses you in that she's actually a little more. She's better read than you expected.
Definitely.
So she knows some more of the classics.
Nice.
And she picks up on some of the the symbolism that's incorporated into whatever it is we're watching.
Yeah.
So if you want to say it's, I don't know if it's a musical or whatnot, then she recognizes certain aspects of the staging and how they're playing it and the backdrops and whatnot.
Nice.
And so during the intermission, she turns to you and she says, and you can see that her guard's down, and she says, I have a question for you. It leads to something personal. There's no easy way to say this. So Derail thinks this is impossible, but I think I can probably do it. Do you know from your travels or from your knowledge, because I know you know a lot about the supernatural, have you ever heard about how to capture not just the essence of a person's soul, but their personality also? Because I've got the essence part down.
The essence can be a bit of a different thing, you see, and the transitionary period, that there's something happens in that liminal space between life and death, that the personality doesn't always remain as it was in life. Death has a tendency to change people, you understand. No, I think what you asked might be impossible.
I guess I set myself up for that one, didn't I?
Sorry, you're fucked.
Yeah. So Twilight's disheartened and thinking about it. She says, "Okay," and I think and you see that she looks upset. She said, well, "I guess it just can't be done." Okay, thank you very much. I promised to tell you. I was thinking about my brother. I was to try and make my brother my fire.
Oh.
But
he kind of like softens visibly at that.
Because he died. He's so far in all timelines I've been in, he's dead. He died in my timeline, but he was somebody I really looked up to.
But I know the feeling of loss better than most. I understand what you're experiencing and what you're longing for.
How do you deal with it? You've been doing this longer than I have. How have you coped? How do you keep it together?
There is beauty in remembrance, you see, in letting go of what has lost, what has left us behind, but celebrating it, finding ways to highlight the beauty of what came before us. And for those that you have a personal connection with, there's ample room for thinking about what that person meant to you and making that tangible, making that a real thing in the world, even if you can't have exactly what you want. Think about, what did your brother love most? What did he find comfort in his time spent alone, that you might be able to take that fragment of what he was and incorporate that into what you are now?
He was always childish. I mean, he was an adult. He had a job. He was a professional, but he always had this childish sense of humor that bubbled through everything. So it didn't matter how bad things got. He was always optimistic and positive. and it could get us through so many difficult times. So he definitely had that. I'm not sure what I can do with that aside from keeping it in my memory, but is that, do you use your song for that? Are some of your songs about people that you've lost or things that you've lost?
Yes. Things that I've lost, things that other folks have lost. It's a way to immortalize what is no longer with us. And from what you tell me, I think that spirit of play, of joviality, is something that you can hang on to and find comfort in. I'm sure there are many places in Ashpilton where your brother's spirit will be alive and well.
And you hear the tuning of instruments as the intermission and the flashing of the lights.
And the lights dim, and I think there's probably some tears going down her cheeks.
That's good.
And I think Talia just reaches over and puts her hand on top of yours and just kind of holds it while we watch for a little bit.
Fantastic. Last call for scenes. Okie doke. In that case, let's end on that emotional note. End of session. When you reach the end of the session, we're not going to talk about bonds, but I think everybody hit a flag, right? I got the distinct impression that flag hitting was going on. So go ahead and mark XP for your flags, or if you hit one.
So Talia, I hit yours, right? With a supernatural discussion.
If that's the flag, I think you did, because it
It's
was
gone.
What happened?
He disappeared like the wind. He's as ephemeral as your brother.
Oh, Matthew disappeared. I thought you meant
Yeah.
you said the
Yeah, no, yeah.
Talia's a ghost. Oh, that makes everything so different. I can't deal with this.
What's going on with the flags right now? It looks like
I think there's some text copied and pasted in like an in-between column.
no,
And
it's elongated the thing. Okay, whose
Oh,
text is
yeah.
that? Someone grab your text.
oh, my voice recognition app was on and it was just like dictating everything into that box.
Wait, what?
That's how I type. I've dictated everything.
Got it.
and-
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take care of that.
Yeah, let's get that out of here. All right. There we go.
So
All right.
very good. All right. Everybody mark an XP for hitting flags. Let's continue on here. Alignments. Let's just go down the sheets. All right. Let's see. Christo for Twilight. Use a gadget in a new and surprising way that it wasn't meant for. Yeah, I thought you did some cool stuff with the gadgets. Using it as a weapon with the following the thing was pretty cool. Mark an XP. Derail. Learn a secret about someone important. Did that happen?
I don't think so, unless the fact that he has a spider was important, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. No, that probably didn't rise to the level of that. Talia, discover something new or write a new song.
I think that I kind of did both with this, with adding to the song of the Temple of the Golden Sky.
Yeah, I think it's in the spirit of that. So you can go ahead and write. You can go ahead and mark that one. And then Red Thorn, you definitely did yours, Thorn, without doubt. So
Killing mercilessly.
you have that XP as well.
Yeah.
If Twilight counts as important, then that might be a thing because we learned a lot about each other. But I don't know if they're an important
Oh, that's
person.
true. Yeah, that's actually true. You learned a lot about like Twilight's inner pain. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. And Twilight's important. Fantastic. Let's read the group questions. Did we learn something new and important about the world? Yes.
Shadow tokens?
Maybe.
Necromancer dude. I mean, that was kind of given to us, but
Yeah.
We're all doomed. So we have 3 doomed prophecies floating around.
I think this might be the rare instance where that one didn't fire. I'm not quite sure that one fired. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy? Yeah, I'm just going to say the whole first sequence counts for that. So mark an XP. Did we loot a memorable treasure? Where do we begin? Man Tiger Hide, or possibly possibly stealing from Melvor, all those things. It was done in a memorable way, so I think that counts. In any case, you'll get that XP as well. If you guys leveled, you can level up your character to level 2 in between sessions. That's perfectly fine. And I don't think I have anything else. I can't do debrief today because I've got to rush off to something else. But it was fantastic playing with you, Matthias. So
Thank
you
you
for
very
joining
much.
us.
I had an awesome time.
Yeah, fantastic. And everybody else, it was really great.
Mhm.
Do I need to know anything about for next week for anybody else? Are we good?
I'll be there.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week then.
Mhm.